Welcome back to 16 Artists, the show about young creatives finding their way in the world. If you're new to the podcast, my name is Raylan Yount. I'm a musician based in London, and in this series, I'm having conversations with former Harvard classmates of mine who went off the beaten path to pursue their creative dreams. Our goal here is to demystify life in the arts and help reawaken your creative spirit. This show is presented in partnership with the Harvard Office for the Arts. In today's episode, I had the pleasure of speaking with TV writer Eli Wilson Pelton and composer-performer Joshuah Brian Campbell about their perspectives on being Black in Hollywood, the blending of entertainment and politics, and what it's like sharing air with Beyoncé. So if that sounds interesting to you, keep on listening. Eli Wilson Pelton is a TV writer living in LA. He's written for High Fidelity on Hulu, Insecure on HBO, and Generation on HBO Max, among others. Joshua Brian Campbell is a singer, composer, ministry worker, and actor from Cheraw, South Carolina. He is the co-writer, along with Cynthia Erivo, of the Grammy and Oscar-nominated song Stand Up from the film Harriet. I knew we would get into some deep subjects in our conversation, but decided to begin shallow and asked Eli about a tweet he posted a while back. I wanted to actually start out by asking Eli something. I'm semi-putting you on the spot, but I saw this tweet that
not a
I need
tweet.
more context for.
Not a tweet.
Oh, God.
And I couldn't pull it up. I couldn't find it. I'm not sure if you deleted it or
Good.
not, but
Probably. Probably.
Yeah, I'm changing my settings to private as we speak.
Humiliating. Shit. Okay, cool.
It's this one where you're like talking about your boss and like you're on a Zoom call with your boss.
Oh, yes.
Can you read that one out loud for us, please?
Oh, God. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Where do I find that? That's funny. Yes, I love this. This is what's great about being active on Twitter is people respond to your tweets or mention your tweets in your life and you're like, oh no, that's not how that's supposed to work. It's only internet. We can't talk about that in real life. Okay, the tweet said, my straight male boss on Zoom just said, I have to piss. And before I could even control myself or knew what was happening, I said, go piss, girl. And then all caps, LMAO. Yeah.
233K likes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
34,000 likes. Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
So tell us the story. Fill in the story.
Oh God. What is the picture? It's just, Twitter. No, I mean, that's in reference to, this is so stupid. That's in reference to that Gossip Girl meme. I don't know if you guys remember it, but see, this is a thing. This is actually, and this is where I'm just like now going to talk about my tweet like it's a text, but this is a thing. It went viral and I muted it. I stopped looking at it. And I was like, oh, this is funny because I think a lot of people actually aren't getting the reference, but it wasn't direct reference to these Gossip Girl memes. This is so dumb. I can't believe I'm talking about this. Where it was like, Josh, do you remember these? I don't know.
No.
It was okay, great. At the beginning of lockdown, it was a meme, and it was Blair and Serena, and Serena says, "I have to pee," and then someone says, "Go piss, girl." The Gossip Girl, and then people did all these variations on them, and they were so dumb. So that's what I was referencing. Then I think that a lot of people responded to it because like, oh, it's so funny that like you're like speaking gay to your boss, which like wasn't the point of it, but then I think that's
guilty as charged.
Well, that was part of it, but there also is onions. I can't believe we're talking about this.
I love that. It's so layered.
Oh, I remember this.
Yes. That meme
it's hilarious.
Incredible.
It's
so
hilarious.
Funny. My favorite meme.
Go piss, girl.
Go piss, girl.
Because it's like gossip. Go.
Yes.
You know what? I'm catching up.
We're all never just catching up one step at a time.
Yeah, that's
too late.
I think it's really a testament. It's a testament to your Twitterary skills in that it could go viral
God.
with half the people not actually even getting the reference. So it's really,
God.
multivocal.
Yeah.
It's intertextuality is what it is.
Exactly. Yes, it's actually referencing two texts. Yeah.
It's
That's
beautiful.
what it is.
So,
Mhm.
Eli, can you tell us about your job? Like, what are you working on? Who's this boss? Not who's this boss, but like.
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, so I write for television, and it has all been like virtual since the pandemic happened. The show I'm on right now is like my fifth season of television, but I've mainly had female bosses. I guess one show is two gay men, and this one still is. The lead writer is a woman, but her like second in command is a straight white guy, which I've never had before. I guess I was responding to that a little bit because it's just funny. It's my first time having like a straight white guy since I started writing, being someone that I'm like, interacting with.
I do
He's a
know,
very
it
nice
is
guy.
true. It can be a funny dynamic. And so if you're in your fifth season of television writing, how do you feel like your understanding of that world, that job has changed over the last couple of years? Anything that sort of surprised you compared to before you actually started working in this job?
Not really, but I am, I think it's like, yes, I've been doing it for like 2.5 years now. And I think I'm at the point now where like, that first job, when you get something that you like dream about for a long time, it's like, wow, I'm so happy to be here. And the second job, it's like, wow, I can actually do this. And then I think like after that, shit starts getting real where it's like, oh, I have to like pitch my own stuff and like do this, which is all like really cool and amazing. But I think I'm now at that place in my career where I'm like get to the next step that I'm expected to. I have to like really work pretty hard.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, this is work now.
Yeah, this is work now. I mean, it's still so cool and fun, but I think it just makes you realize like, to get the shit that you want, you have to put in a little elbow grease.
Am I remembering correctly that one of these shows that you've worked on in the past was Insecure?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that was the fourth season was like the second show I worked on. It was just so cool to come on to a show as a fan. And then it's also so cool, like, I mean, because of, Issa and then the showrunner, Prentice Penny, like, they just made it like an incredibly, it's just like black. I call it like, it's like Wakanda. Like, like I just like, it's just as, how rare is it to have a workplace that is majority any, minority. But, for me particularly, majority black, like, that just is pretty rare, I think, in the United States of America. So it's been cool to have that. I mean, it's just been like so dope to see and something I hope to carry on in the future.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm watching Issa Rae's masterclass right now.
Oh, is it good?
It's great.
I've heard.
She's just so cool, so inspiring.
Josh.
Yes.
I feel like have you like met her or anything? Because I feel like sometimes you can be a little fancy.
Have I met Issa Rae?
Yeah. Have you been in a room with her or anything like that?
I might have been in a room with her if she was at that award season.
Yeah.
Question mark. But
let's talk about that.
I have not. Yeah. Wow. I have not met Issa Rae. No. No.
One day.
Yeah, maybe one day. I was just thinking though about like what you were talking about like black showrunners and stuff, and how like sort of what's the word I want to use? Serendipitous foray into Hollywood was sort of like shepherded by Black folks, like who really held it down for me, like Deborah Martin Chase, who co-produced the Harriet movie. She also made the Cinderella with Brandy, which is now back on Disney Plus or something like that. I need to go watch it. Amazing movie. And then Terrence Blanchard, who did the score. Like it was like Black folks who like really advocated for me. And it was obviously like Harriet is obviously like a movie about Black people, but it was like the Black folks in the rooms and behind the scenes really like pushing for me and stuff. So that's been something that's marked sort of my path, if you will, thus far as well. But no, back to the question, I have met Issa Rae, but maybe one day.
You will.
If you're listening, I have.
if Issa Rae listens to this, if Issa Rae listens to
one of your students' podcasts.
Exactly. I'm sure she'll check it out. Coming onto that show, it made me realize, like, oh, like, well, everyone besides straight white men, but Black people in this case, were shut out of this process for so long that so much of the stuff they do and she does and that camp does and all those people, all these writers, these mainly Black writers, they just make experiences for themselves. You know, they just like, they don't go through agents or managers or production companies. They like collaborate and are like, I like this person, I like this person, because that's what we've had to do. You know, that's what they historically had to do. And so I feel like that probably speaks to your experience. And I'm, you know, I just feel like that's just a lot of times being a minority in a professional setting. But,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's a very boutique setup over here. Like, it's very, like, everything is, and the quote unquote team or whatever, like, it has grown for like over the past year or whatever, but it's truly just me and my manager, who, well, I don't know whether do I want to say this in the podcast? My manager is my brother. My brother's my manager. My brother manages. So it's very boutique. It's very like, we figured this stuff out on our own. Yep. We're still figuring out. I don't know how most things work still in the industry. So yeah, it's really this. Yeah, it's like you said. It's kind of like making it up for ourselves as we go along.
Yeah, because we have to. But then also there, if it works, there's ownership there in a way that not only is just like important work, but just also like makes the work better. You know. Mm-hmm. I can't believe I just said it makes the work better on a podcast. Oh my god.
We've locked it in. Joshua, so if you haven't met Issa Rae, but have you met other people that you've been starstruck by at any of these awards ceremonies?
I'm trying to think of who I was the most. It's funny stories. We were at the Golden. Well, so let's talk about the Globes, shall we? You know, Beyonce like doesn't come to things on time. Like, she just like sneaks in and then sneaks out or whatever, because she's Beyonce. So like when she came in the room, I was like looking across and I was like, oh my God, like, you know, very out of body. Like, I'm in the same, we're sharing the same air. Like, you know, my Virgo sister. Oh. But yeah, Tiffany Haddish was on her way back to her table from presenting, and my mom like tried to grab her to take a picture with her. And I hate social interactions in general. So I was like, Mom, no, like, leave her alone. She's working. She's leave her alone. And Tiffany Haddish was like, oh, I would have took a picture, but never mind. And then she kept walking. It was really sad.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
Speaking of Tiffany Haddish, though, I did have dinner, I don't know, that's such a Southern thing, the little pre-Oscars dinner. I had dinner between Common and Quincy Jones, which was a compelling evening.
Wow.
That was definitely interesting. I don't get starstruck as much as I just have social anxiety. So
I want to ask you both, actually, since you've experienced a level of proximity to Hollywood and to people in this world of fame. How do you feel? It's a loaded question, but what's your latest thinking about the sort of entertainment politics complex? Obviously Trump was a reality TV star before he became president, and it seems to be a uniquely American sort of pipeline for us to trust in celebrities and then give them our vote. What are your thoughts on that?
Trash. Throw it away. Throw it away. Yeah. Get rid of it, please.
Yeah, celebrity is so jarring when you really like consider the effect that it has on people who are like celebritized and also the people who are affected by the celebrities. Yeah, sometimes I just find myself thinking like, oh my gosh, there's a set of social circumstances and conditions under which people can be like totally detached from the reality of the masses.
Yeah, which is why those people have no business doing anything with policy or politics. With TikTok, I'm like, oh, everyone is just not. Everyone is just. We're all just content traders now. Like, right? Like, content truly is king, and right now the king is like narrative or that still feels like old school, but the new content is just like people, and the content that the algorithm is forcing you to create. So it does make me wonder, like, oh, are those those people, which the new different form of celebrity, are those the ones that we're going to see, using whatever popularity they've gained through this content they've created themselves into politics? Probably.
Yeah.
I'm sure one of these TikTok stars is going to run for governor in 2035.
Yeah.
2040.
And I've also been noticing how, particularly AOC, because that's who the algorithm shows me, is like making appearances on Vogue, or she played Among Us with some video game stars, and she appeared on RuPaul's Drag Race. And I feel like, as someone who is starting as a politician, I think she's trying to play the game, I guess, a bit of participating in entertainment as a way to reach a generation of voters. And yeah, it's like it almost feels like a requirement, politicians on Twitter having to be able to tweet their opinions on things really succinctly, but also very vividly for people to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird machine too, because there's also the kind of inverse side where media platforms like TikTok really, for lack of a better word, democratize that sort of platforming. And so, like,
Yeah.
sometimes you see content and you're like, wow, this is actually good. Like, I was watching a Black single mom like talk about de-escalating with her child and not like being a good parent. And I was like, well, wow, well, this is good. It's a shame that TikTok sucks. Like, yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. It's interesting to see what social media platforms optimize for, right? They do not optimize for us to be our full, complex selves, right? They optimize for content that's
No.
very consistent and very specific, very branded. It just really reduces our voices,
Yeah.
or makes it very
hmm
extreme.
It also like homogenizes them, you know? It's so funny. Like, I'm not on TikTok, but it's so funny. I'll see people being like, oh, the algorithm prefers this content. Like, they'll talk about, like, oh, I can tell, like, this content does well. Like, the fact that someone is like, this part of my being is doing well,
Yeah.
and I'm going to now do more of that is crazy. It's like, when I talk about this thing, it does well. The algorithm is telling me this does well. And it's just, yeah, it's just really
Kind of
weird.
sinister. I think I just had this moment of sort of like stepping back last year when I was looking at TikTok and being like, literally, an algorithm is moving our bodies. Like, it's telling humans how to move our bodies, because the algorithm determines which TikTok dances are popular. And I was like, wow, people are really taking the phone, like doing this dance because an algorithm told them to, basically.
Not only is it like telling us what to do or telling folks what to do, but like choosing the representative examples of like who best to like do them. Because like white content creators steal stuff all the time from Black content creators on TikTok. That's what they do on every other platform. Yeah, I'm friends with a couple TikTokers, and like it's a real time investment to like do what you're saying, right? On like to do the not just the choreography of the dance, but like the choreography of like how to, as like a human being, move my body in such a way that I will generate the clicks, that will generate the following, that will generate like money, question mark, fame, question mark, popularity, question mark. It's very intense.
Ahead of the ceremonies, I'm curious about, what was the process like working with Cynthia Erivo?
Wow, it was really something. It was like completely. So first of all, let me say, I adore her voice. I flew to New York to see The Color Purple before it closed in 2018, like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She's like a really sharp writer and like just a sharp person in general. And it was just like, again, more of just like the shell shock of like, oh my gosh, like I've never worked with someone who like is of this sort of caliber in any industry or whatever. So it was really like, it was intense. We only had like one session writing together.
Wow.
So like the song came together really fast because they needed it fast. So like
crazy.
Gabe and I demoed it and the ball just rolled really, really, really fast on that whole process. So it was like, it was something else. Like it was quite a first time, if you will.
And isn't it like someone like a producer came to hear you sing somewhere? Isn't that how it happened? How did it come about again?
So, long story somewhat short, let me see if I can piece together the details because sometimes I like forget what happened because it's a blur. I got like an email from somebody, an exec on the movie, and they were like, hey, we want to see whether you want to write an original song for this movie. And the reason was like, because they heard the composer, Terrence Blanchard, and the director, Casey Lemons, they had heard the 2018 video where I sang for Congressman Lewis,
right?
May he rest. And they liked that song, Sing Out, March On.
And that the 2018 song was an original song you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was, yeah. I actually wrote that song while we were in undergrad, like 2014-ish, when we were first like participating in a lot of the like Black Lives Matter first/second wave of actions. I guess it was around like Freddie Gray. I can't remember what, who or what, but it was written during that time. And then I sang it at the commencement and they heard it and they liked it. They were like, we want to see whether he can do something else. And I was like, I'll try. And then long story short, the song ended up, the new song ended up in the Harriet movie. So.
Mm-hmm. And being nominated for an Oscar. I love that. I'll try.
I'll try.
Truly.
I'll try gets nominated for an Oscar. I'll try.
It just blows my mind that you had one session because this song is iconic. It develops so incredibly, and I feel like it balances a like kind of breadth of it's just so expansive and so iconic, while also I think musically being very complex and having a lot of harmonic richness.
Thank you.
It's so amazing.
So good.
Thank you. Shout out to Cynthia. Shout out to the producers, Gabe, Fox-Peck, Will Wells. Fantastic.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, so good.
What was it like when you watched the film and saw this song within the context of the film premiere?
Oh, wow. That was something else. It was amazing. The one I remember most is like Felicia Rashad was like sitting behind me. So I was like, hi. She was like eating popcorn in like an AMC in New York. It was pretty surreal. Sometimes I like hear the song or like start humming it. I'm like, oh, if you're listening and friends, I'm about to curse. I wrote that shit. That's amazing. Like I participated in bringing that into the world. It's just weird.
Is it weird because, there's this sort of fantasy world, but it seems separate from reality, and then you're realizing, wait a second, that thing that seemed so far away is actually part of my reality now.
Yes, and not to like, I don't want it to come off the wrong way, but like it's not a direction nor a place I expected to head into that quickly, nor that I like necessarily like ask, but it was just like thrust upon me. So it's like, wow, this is crazy. And also like I still primarily consider myself a performer. So like to be like put on as a songwriter, that was also like intense, like identity shock in a way. But in a half good, half crazy way. Like it's both at the same time.
That's great. Eli, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your creative practice. We've talked a little bit about the industry, but I remember back in, I think maybe summer after graduation, I had a chance to see a screenplay that you were working on for a show. And I'm just curious about, where that idea or that kind of energy is at.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the next, goal and hope. It's harder, but also it's like there is something comfortable in like going up for these staffing jobs, staffing jobs when you're staff on a show that's not your own. That's comfortable versus being like, okay, wait, no, maybe do I say no to this so that I can like focus more on like getting my own stuff off the ground. I think that's just like a level of being an artist, no matter what level you're at. I have some stuff that I'm like pitching and going out with currently. So hopefully those things happen. In the beginning, it was sort of like, I wasn't as focused as that because it was like, yeah, this is so fun. Mm-hmm. I want to just focus on like the show I'm on. But now that is where my energy is because, I want to write the stuff that I want to see. And, so I've tried to get into this job in the first place.
That's one of the things that Issa said in her masterclass, create what you want to see.
Really?
Yes.
Look at that. There it is.
Wow. Can you say more about what's important to you as a storyteller? If you do start writing your own show, what's going to be important to what you make?
I have this script that's a sample, and that's what people read often when thinking about hiring me. Mm. And that one just has like a queer Black guy at his at the center. It's not revolutionary. Like 3 friends living in a house in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's just like them hanging out, and then there's this girl Faye who's Chinese American, and it's not like revolutionary at all, but people like really respond to it. And I think just because it's like at its center, there's like a Black queer guy talking frankly about sex and dating and with his friends, and everyone's just like, we love it. So that is like a story I still haven't seen, like in a way that I feel is contemporary, and I always will be trying to tell that story. It's a story I know well, and I just feel like I haven't seen a queer experience talk about sex, frankly, mm-hmm. On TV ever, really. And so I think that's one I want to tell. But other than that, like I just want to tell like Black stories. Like, well, it's fine. I want to do like a Black surf show. Like I started surfing in the pandemic. Like I just want to tell stories often about Black people that feels fresh and also isn't about trauma.
Good luck on the pitches. I'm really excited to see the show when it's made. Joshua, how about you? What's becoming important to you in your creative practice?
I think just embracing a very slow pace has become very important to me. A lot over the past 2 years, and then like broadly speaking, over the past 5 years has happened really fast. And so now I'm like basking in taking my time to do things. Like nothing is really coming really quickly down my pipeline other than like a bunch of deadlines for me to like wrap up grad school and that sort of stuff. But beyond that, like going into this summer, going forward, like I have a lot of ideas. I'm working on sort of an album project ? I don't know what it is. And also just like letting things not be so defined until they tell you what they are themselves. It's been becoming important to me, like not forcing myself into labeling or packaging something, but also like motivating myself to finish. So I've been working really slowly on this project with Gabe Fox-Peck. I have another album I want to do after that might also be a documentary. I don't know. I'm still like doing a fair amount of work in my faith communities. So that's important, both to my artistic process and to just like life in general. So yeah, I think for me, what's important is just like taking it slow, and especially starting this summer, finding time to rest and just like let the rest give birth to something and not give way to the grind, because the grind is like truly
soul sucking.
Yeah, it's actually caused material deteriorations in my health personally, like over 5 years.
Yeah.
So like I'm kind of done with grinding. I'm getting too old. Like we're in our late 20s. It's over.
Yeah, it's true. It's like late 20s, and we've aged so much because the world is just so hyper sped. I'm wondering, Josh, can you speak a little bit more about the relationship between spirituality and music for you?
It's almost the same thing. Well, I mean, I don't want to say the same thing, but like the two genres of experience are like indistinguishable from me, I guess. Like both in the practical sense of just like my earliest musical formation was like in church, right? Like at home.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I learned to sing. That's where I learned like still most of what I know about music and what most of like the aesthetics and like things that I employ in my compositional practice, in my writing practice, are out of that. And so like they're weighted in that way, but also just like in the sense of like doing music itself is very sacred to me. And it's not something it's something that's like very fun and I love doing, but it's not something I take lightly either. Because of the fact that like it just feels like such, I don't know, I feel honored, and maybe like writers and other folks feel this way too, but like I just feel honored by, whatever divine might be, that this is what I actually get to do. And so it's quite a spiritual thing.
It's beautiful.
I feel like music is the medium that every art wants to be.
Well, you're talking to two musicians, so we're not going to disagree.
It's the best. It's the best. It's the best one. It is It's the best one.
We've got just a couple minutes left, and I want to squeeze in one last question for you both. If you were to give one piece of advice to yourself 5 years ago when we graduated, what would it be?
Maybe take more risks. Yeah, take more risks.
Nice. I like that. Joshua, how about you?
When you ask the question, it's sort of the same advice that I still have to tell myself every day. So life is circular in that way, but I guess I would tell myself like, yes, you are a performer. Yes, you are a composer. Yes, you are a songwriter. And even if you feel the imposter syndrome of like, I'm not supposed to be here, even though that might be true, because indeed many of the institutions and like industries that hold who you are and will be were not created for you to be there. Just be there anyway, and like bring your ethics and your integrity with you.
So good.
Yes. And sometimes that does feel like a creative risk to do that. But
for sure.
I know the world is better. These industries and the world are better for it, having you both in it.
Yeah.
And your presence is in it. So yeah. Do you want to turn our videos back on?
Yes.
Nice. I mean, is there anything else you want to say to like our classmates or current students who are listening or each other?
It's so fun to talk to you guys. That's mainly what I want to say.
Yeah. Thanks for the memories. I wish sometimes I miss Cambridge these days. I think it's symptomatic of me just like missing the world because of COVID. But like I have some days where I'm really like, I could go for just being in Boston right now.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes feel the same, but I'm like, what? What's coming out of my mouth?
Yeah.
I want to be where? With who?
It's real. Thank you for listening to 16 Artists. You can learn more about Eli and Joshua and their work at 16artists.com. Thank you to the Harvard Office for the Arts and the Harvard Alumni Association for supporting this podcast. Today's episode was produced and edited by me and Shez Manzoor, and the music you heard was by yours truly. If you'd like to give us some feedback on this new podcast, we'd love to hear it. You can get in touch with me directly on Twitter or Instagram at Reylyn, REYLXN. Our next episode is going to be with Isaac, who worked on Broadway, and Rose, who is a music educator. So stay tuned.